We are on the verge of making history in the city of Albany. I moved here 21 years ago for graduate school to attend Albany. Did not even think that I would run for office. I moved here to get my education. And then I was going to get that education and go back home to DC, where I was born and raised. And as many of you know, life has a funny way of having all types of twists and turns. And so I'll just quickly talk a little bit about who I am as a person, because I think it's important that you know who I am first, who I am here and here. And then I'll talk about my journey running for mayor and my priorities. And then, of course, answer any questions that you have. And so the people who raised me, as I shared, really taught me the importance of what it means to work extremely hard, what it means to have integrity, and what it means to be of service to other people. My grandmother migrated from South Carolina. She was a waitress in DC for 50 years. She had an elementary school education and couldn't really find work. And so for 50 years, she served and waited tables. My grandfather was a janitor at the National Institutes of Health, and he cleaned toilets and floors, and he passed away as a janitor. But what I always tell people is that despite being a janitor and cleaning toilets and floors, my grandfather wore a suit and tie to work every single day. He took pride in going to work and being able to provide for his family. And my mother, one of the strongest women I've ever known, was a DC cop. My mother, single mother of four kids, went to work every day, walking the beats, and DC was a very difficult and dangerous place to grow up in and be a police officer. Yet my mother put that uniform on, left 4 kids at home, and worked extremely hard to provide for her family. Unfortunately, I lost my dad very early. My father was a substance user. He contracted the HIV virus using drugs, and so I lost him at a very young age. But despite the hardship, despite the challenges, my family instilled in us the importance of hard work, dedication, integrity, service to others, and so I pursued education here at Albany, received my master's and doctorate in public health, and then did HIV/AIDS work here in Albany, and thought, okay, I'm going to pack up and head out and maybe do some national policy work in DC. But along the journey, somebody asked me to run for office. Never thought I would run for office. And I accepted the call. I ran for office, became a city councilwoman, and served on the city council for 6 years, and then currently serve as your chief city auditor, elected. I work in City Hall across from the mayor's office. And then several people asked, you should think about running for mayor. And so 3.5 years ago, I started the journey of running for mayor. Most people don't know that I started running for mayor 3 years ago. My daughter, I had 2 babies, 1, 2, and the other one, 1. We started so early because for many of you in this room are familiar with Albany. Albany is a very segregated city. It can be challenging for people of color in this city. And those who have traditionally held roles of power and decision making don't look like me, and they don't look like you in this room. And so I knew that in order to do what has never been done in this city's 400 years, we had to do what hasn't been done. And so we worked, and I say we because I have a great team, and some members of my team are here, Nesta and Robbie. We worked our fingers to the bone, day, night, knocking on doors, strategizing, talking to people, talking to business owners at events. One baby on this hip, one baby on this hip, a supportive husband at home, and with a lot of work, a lot of talking to people in their kitchens, backyards, businesses, we were able to convince enough residents in this city that I am the most qualified candidate for the office of mayor, and we won the June primary with a landslide victory, a four-way race, and we won 53% of the vote. That's a big deal. And I don't take it lightly. A lot of people are trying to analyze, well, how did they pull it off? Because they said statistically it was impossible for us to win. But what I learned on the campaign trail and talking to businesses and residents in this city is that people want an honest mayor, someone who sees everybody, not just a select few, someone who is willing to extend opportunity, access, and resource, because the reality is city government is meant for the public. City government is not meant to protect and care for and invest in a select few. And so with a message of diversity, equity, access, integrity, service, the people of this city spoke loud and clear, and here I am standing before you, really honored and excited about what's to come. So priorities, and then I'll stop talking so that you all can ask me any question. Public safety, as mentioned, is the top priority. Albany is seen as an unsafe city. We have a lot of challenges in some of our neighborhoods with gun violence, and we have a lot of challenges in our business corridors with the unhoused, people who are homeless. They are urinating and defecating and vomiting on the ground. In some cases, harassing customers. And then we have an increase in drug use. We have people shooting up drugs on our city streets. And so for a lot of people, they choose not to come to Albany because they don't want to look at that. They don't want to have to deal with that. And we have businesses who are packing up and leaving because they don't want to have to deal with that. Public safety, again, is one issue that I'll tackle, and I can talk more about how I plan to tackle that when we get into the questions. The other, making sure we have strong neighborhoods, investing in our neighborhoods to make sure that they are safe, they are affordable, they are healthy. Investing in our most vulnerable, our youth and our seniors, but also making sure that we are revitalizing our downtown and focusing on economic growth, investing in businesses, small businesses, attracting new business to this city, revitalizing our downtown, making sure we have access to our waterfront. And lastly, making sure that Albany is vibrant again. People want a city that is infused with culture, arts, entertainment, music, festivals. That's what people want in a city. And so those are the things that I am focused on. Happy to talk more. Some of you have this. This was put out as a way to really highlight how I plan to focus on economic growth. I talked about public safety, infrastructure enhancement, streets, sidewalks, pedestrian-friendly spaces so people can actually walk and run and bike, but also talked about accelerating access to our waterfront. So before I close, I just want to say to each of you, thank you for your investments in our community, in our city, in our county. I am clearly aware that the city sometimes, and in some cases, oftentimes, people feel that there's a lot of red tape. You can't get anything done. It's hard to get somebody on the phone, and when you do, you get the runaround. Sometimes people talk to me about the treatment they receive when the customer service is not always great. But despite all of that, you all continue to run your businesses, you continue to invest, you continue to give back to your communities. And I just want to thank each of you for what you do to make this city and this county and this state the best that it can be. It's because of your labor, your investments, your blood, sweat, and tears, your sacrifices, and I don't take that for granted. So with that, I thank you for your time here.
Critic content.